Hey guys, it's been a while since I've done this, but tonight I just had to come back on here, interrupting a lot of your dinners. But frankly, if your dinner hasn't already been interrupted, it should be. Today is a really dark day for democracy in this country, and we just need to think about it. We need to talk about it, and we don't need to get too down about it. We need to get organized, and we need to do some things. You know, this everything, all this bullshit that happened in Nashville.
Hey folks, Dale Jackson here for Yellowhammer Now, and today we're going to talk a little bit about Doug Jones, the former United States Senator from the state of Alabama, who constantly feels the need to insert himself in ridiculous situations that he has absolutely no business inserting himself in, and a very, very, very questionable grasp on the facts of all these situations. Now, we all know about the Tennessee Three, or as now we're, I guess, referring to them as the Tennessee Two, since the two of them got kicked out of the legislature and one did not, which of course is racist. And we'll get into all of that here in just a second. Doug Jones wants to weigh in. I don't know why he wants to weigh in, but he wants to weigh in.
Hey guys, it's been a while since I've done this, but tonight I just had to come back on here, interrupting a lot of your dinners. But frankly, if your dinner hasn't already been interrupted, it should be. Today is a really dark day for democracy in this country, and we just need to think about it. We need to talk about it, and we don't need to get too down about it. We need to get organized, and we need to do some things. You know, this everything, all this bullshit that happened in Nashville today started, and when folks got there, when folks got to the state capitol in Nashville, there were three members of the Tennessee legislature, three Democrats, two black, one white female, who decided to join in the protest, but they did it from the House floor. They did it from the House floor, and oh my God, did the Republicans in that chamber go crazy. They could not believe that their colleagues were disrupting them, breaking a rule of decorum. Okay, now these are the same guys. Okay, these same Republicans are the ones that are telling people that the DA in Manhattan has overreached with charges against Donald Trump for paying hush money and then falsifying records and trying to influence the 2020 election. That's an overreach. But what they immediately did was they set a vote to expel, and today that vote happened. And what you saw was just a complete and full-on assault on democracy, the likes of which we really hadn't seen since January 6th.
Now, I wouldn't have a problem with Doug Jones weighing in if he told the truth, or if he knew what the truth was, or if he just didn't sound like an idiot. But it doesn't seem like that's possible. This was not some peaceful protest these guys were engaging in. This was an attempt to start a riot. We know it. We see it. We're not blind. calling for action while this was going on, he knew exactly what he was doing. So did his colleagues. And now we're going to pretend that these guys were just wanting gun control. And because they want gun control, they should get gun control, even though they don't have the numbers to do it or the votes or the support of the people. They should still get it because they want it after all. And anyone that tries to stop them is, of course, the bad guy. It's a political disagreement. It's a legislative body. The other voices are allowed to be heard as well. But you can't break the rules of decorum. You can't continue to do this. And I know people will say, well, asking people to have decorum in this time is just not right. This anger is the voice of the oppressed, and that's delightful and wonderful, and it's a great line, but you still can't do it. They agreed to these rules when they became members of this body. Now, the media won't tell you that because they're too busy telling you that this is a racist scheme to suppress people and ruin democracy.
Caitlin, just walk us through what this means. They voted to expel one Democratic lawmaker, which seems like a very severe punishment for, no question, breaking the rules, but breaking the rules in a fairly mundane way. They participated in a protest on the state legislature's floor. So is this person now gone?
Right. Well, this person is now expelled, which means their constituents won't have representation.
The president must federalize the Tennessee National Guard in hopes of reestablishing democracy there. The state assembly has expelled 2 African-American legislators for having dared protest the slaughter of school children in their state. The expulsions were carried out in the most racist, condescending, fascistic way imaginable. And as Eisenhower and JFK sent in troops during school integration, Biden must do so as well now to protect integrated democratic government. Plus, after the ProPublica investigation, we need a Senate committee designed to get Clarence Thomas to resign or be arrested. He is a human for sale sign, taking millions from a GOP megadonor who regularly submits briefs to the Supreme Court. All that, and Alvin Bragg has a tape of the defendant talking hush money, lordy, there are tapes, on the Friday edition of the Countdown podcast, available now wherever you podcast.
President Biden has responded to what happened. I don't think I have it in front of me, but what would you like to see at a national level? I mean, I think that the country, those who care about, there it is, these kids and these officials gunned down in yet another mass shooting. And what do the GOP officials focus on? Punishing lawmakers who joined thousands of peaceful protesters calling for action. This is a state issue. They can make their own rules in the state house. But at a national level, what would you want to see the response being? And what are your constituents, the people who elected you? What do you think that they would like to see?
I mean, this is a very dangerous precedent for the nation. And so we hope that the nation will continue to see what's going on here and support what's happening in Tennessee. Because if you didn't tell me this was happening to me, I would think it was 1963 instead of 2023. Because what we're seeing is a predominantly white supermajority undoing democracy, forcing their will on my district, which is a predominantly black and brown district, one of the most diverse in Tennessee. And so we see a direct assault on democracy, on our right to free expression, on our right to representation. And so we hope that, the nation will come. The Department of Justice may need to look at this. I know I've been speaking to counsel, and we're going to look at, what are our next steps legally, because I do believe that's unconstitutional. I do believe it's a violation of the rights of not just me, but of my constituents, of the people I represented. And that's the most important thing, is that I did not go to that well in my individual capacity. I went there as a representative of 78,000 Tennesseans whose voices are now silenced because they expelled me and left that seat without a representative.
Thank you for letting me speak with you. God bless y'all.
Representative, I know you got a long drive home. One final question for you. All right. Well, Jeremy Faison has left us. And the final question that I wanted to ask him was his explanation for why the 2 black Democrats were expelled and the white woman, who she acknowledged she believes race played a role in that, survived by 1 vote.
Yep.
I think it's obvious. Look, they could have done a censure, right? I think the right question was, why take the most drastic action afterwards? This is exactly what our country was built on protesting. Not everyone, protests aren't perfect. It's also unconscious bias. It's racism. It's a double standard in our society. Obviously, I have to say, I would doubt they would have done this to white members, because guess what? They didn't. They did it to the 2 black members, and especially the 2 black men. It's like usually, especially with something like this, The way people think about black men in this society needs to really be examined, especially with protests, especially with how we express ourselves. If you look at the member there, the guy with the afro, right? He's very outspoken, Justin Pierce, right? I just wanted to be clear because there are two Justins.
Yeah.
I just wanted to be clear about because he has the afro. Yeah, militant or whatever you want to call him, outspoken. But that's his way of expressing himself. And it doesn't mean that he's being rude or boisterous or whatever. He's expressing himself, and that's how he feels. And the other guy is a more subdued, and he's going to be on the other Justin, I should say, because there are two Justins. That's why I keep saying Justin Jones. That's the way he expresses himself. And so I think that we really need to think about the double standard in society. You may want to call it unconscious bias. It's racism. That's all that it is. And what they were trying to do was something that was good for the country and for Tennessee and for the country, and they ended up with the worst outcome.
And I just want to make something clear here. And I want to see if I understand this correctly. When they tried to remove Donald Trump twice from office, it was because he was a threat to democracy. When they tried to remove Mo Brooks, congressman from Alabama, Matt Gaetz, a congressman from Florida, Marjorie Taylor Greene, a congressman from Mars. When they tried to do all of that, it was because they were a threat to democracy, right? Okay, just make sure I understand that. When they tried to stop Brett Kavanaugh from being confirmed to the Supreme Court, it was because he was a threat to democracy. When they want Clarence Thomas removed from the Supreme Court now, that's because he's a threat to democracy. But when these guys get removed from the legislature, it itself is a threat to democracy. Is that how this works? Does anyone believe this? Does anyone buy this? Should anyone buy this? No. These individuals knew what they were doing was wrong, yet they did it anyway. Doug Jones knows what they did was wrong, and yet he's out here trying to raise money off of it. It's kind of pathetic if you think about it, because it requires you to believe that your political base is stupid, and they will believe anything you tell them as long as you make it about guns or race, and this has both. So they're going to continue pushing this. They'll divide the country further, and they don't have the votes to take guns away in Tennessee. That's it. It's the end of the conversation. You can fight all you want. But know this. If a bunch of school choice supporters showed up in Tennessee in the legislature and someone got up on the floor and tried to get them to crash the doors, the American media and their Democrats would not be saying, this is democracy. They wouldn't do that. They only do that when they go into, say, Wisconsin and storm the state house. They only do that when Democrats do it. Understand that. When Democrats do it, it's okay. When Republicans do it, it's not. It's as simple as that. You can look at a ton of different things, including campaign finance violations, the situation with Donald Trump versus Hillary Clinton, all that stuff. If Democrats do it, it's fine. If Republicans do it, it's absolutely evil. If the Democrats flex their power in Wisconsin, now that they've taken the Supreme Court, it will be praised by the American media. In North Carolina, someone switched parties, giving them a supermajority, and it will be decried by the American media as a terrible thing in one-party rule. These people are frauds. Understand they are frauds first and foremost, and also understand that they are very, very stupid as well. As long as you know that going in, you'll understand all of this way better than you already do. These people do not believe a word they're saying. Not about guns, not about transgenders, not about voting, not about racism, not about anything. And if you need to understand even more, look at Joe Biden. The man has never believed anything in his entire life. He lied about the death of his wife. He has lied about every political position he's ever had. He's lied about the stupid things his stupid dad tells him. He's lied about absolutely everything and believes absolutely nothing. He is the perfect poster child for the modern Democratic Party. And unfortunately, with the help of the media and a bunch of brain-dead pop culture people, he's winning. he's winning. There's no other way to put it. Joe Biden is winning right now.